Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at the study of children's intelligence to see how environmental factors shape the formation of the self. Just like any other human trait, intelligence varies from person to person. Most studies estimate that the heritability of intelligence quotient is somewhere between 0.3 and 0.75. This indicates that genetics plays a big role in creating IQ differences among individuals. However, genes are not the ultimate determinant of our IQ, since one study on the influence of genes-environment interaction on intelligence have shown that the heritability of IQ is very low for lower socioeconomic status individuals, because children in poverty do not get to develop to their full genetic potential. Therefore, we can know that our IQ is not only genetically determined, but also influenced by our shared environment. And this idea is also proven by the fact that the school the child goes to have a major influence on IQ, since the quality of teaching in kindergarten and first grade teaching also plays a role. Therefore, based on the previous studies and the fact, the purpose of this study is to find out what environmental factors actually influence the IQ of a child. In this cross-sectional observational study, the researchers recruited 1,065 school children between the age of 12 and 16 years old from 2 government and 13 private schools in 5 towns, 6 cities, and 2 villages across India. All the children were administered a questionnaire consisting of various environmental factors, such as parents' education, occupation, income, and the physical activity of the students. Children's IQ scores were calculated using the score on the Raven's test, and their IQ scores were divided into 3 groups, which are below normal IQ group, normal IQ group, and high IQ group. As shown in this table, most children with high IQ was residing either in cities or towns than those living in villages. Out of the 163 people in the high IQ group, more than half of them engaged in some form of physical exercise for more than 5 hours a week. We can even observe that none of the children of fathers without formal education have a high IQ score. Therefore, children living in cities, children having physical activity more than 5 hours a week, children with parents having a postgraduate or graduate level of education, and children whose father working as a professional are more likely to have a high IQ. But what's the basis for all this? Well, children brought up in a village setting may not get the same facilities and the same level of intellectual stimulation as compared to their counterparts brought up in a city or a town. And when children do physical exercise, there is a secretion of certain hormones in association with exercise which plays a role in creating and consolidating memory. In elderly, it has a role to play in maintaining intelligence for executive functions, such as planning and scheduling of mental procedures. Remember, family income is also one of the major determinants of a child's intelligence. A higher family income implies good schooling for the child, and also very possible level of cognitive stimulation can be made available to this child. In such cases, children get better chances to reach their full genetic potential in terms of intelligence. The same is true for parents' occupation and educational qualification, which are mostly related. The beneficial effects of parental educational level are not only limited to academic achievements through the school years, but also have long-term implications in the form of indirect effects such as adolescent aspirations and educational achievement. The results of this study shows the environmental factors such as place of residence, physical activity, family income, parents' occupation, and education have an impact on the IQ of the children. And thus, a child must be provided with an optimal environment to be able to develop to his or her genetic potential. Finally, how does this finding relate to the concept of self? Well, when you are in a state of anxiety about not being able to solve a math problem, you might blame yourself for being so stupid. At this point, you have realized the importance of intelligence and how it has shaped you. Intelligence of a person involves the ability to reason, plan, solve problems, think objectively, comprehend complex ideas, learn quickly, and learn from experience. It's not merely book learning, a narrow academic skill, or test-taking smarts. Rather, it reflects a broader and deeper capability for comprehending our surroundings. Intelligence enables us to make sense of things and lets us figure out what to do. So, if the environmental factors such as family income and parents' education affect the formation of the intelligence, then the self will be affected by these factors as well.